Tonight, when the outrageous becomes the ordinary. Hush money to a porn star, another payment to a Playboy bunny, threatening Iran with total destruction, blasting U.S. intelligence agencies. Those are the things the president has done this weekend. This is not normal. Then, how big a factor will Trump be when it comes to the midterm elections? We're going to take a look at the polls on that one and a bunch of really other fascinating numbers. Also, Cuomo versus de Blasio again. The governor and mayor are still feuding. It's getting even more bizarre if that's possible. Now Andrew Cuomo saying God will judge de Blasio for the job he's doing. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Yes, the almighty even getting into that fight. It is only Monday, but it feels, frankly, like it's already been a long week. That's what it's like, trust me, covering this particular White House. Let's start with what happened just today. President Trump actually threatening to revoke the security clearances of top former intelligence heads because they've been critical of him. That includes former CIA head John Brennan, former Intel director James Clapper, and a bunch of other names. Many are saying this is something we've never seen before. And that follows a weekend that was just chock full of news out of this White House. Now, we just learned the President of the United States was secretly recorded by his own lawyer talking about payments, hush money, to a Playboy model who said that they had an affair. By the way, now prosecutors are saying they have found 12 more audio tapes in Michael Cohen's office after they raided it. We don't have any other details about that yet. And don't forget, that same lawyer and the same president were involved in paying porn star Stormy Daniels for exactly the same thing. Think about that. The president, a porn star, a Playboy model, and this with a new father there with Donald Trump, with a new wife, hush money. This is all incredible. It is not normal, except it seems to have become that. If all that happened in a vacuum, it would be, trust me, front page breaking news all weekend long. Even all month, you could argue, but it was none of those things because the president went on a Twitter tirade about just about anything other than that. His favorite target was, again, of course, the Mueller probe and his own intelligence agencies. He criticized the FBI for raiding Cohen's office. By the way, that's how the tapes of his phone conversations were uncovered. Trump again called the Mueller probe a rigged witch hunt after he walked it back and then walked it back again. Once again, he's going after who else but Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, maybe just because. He also said he had a great meeting with Putin and only the fake news thought it went badly. That would be everyone in the world but Fox News. Now, I wanted to play for you one of the headline sound bites from the Russia summit. So bad, Trump had to walk that back a day later after immense pressure from not just Democrats but from Republicans too, and just about every other adult in D.C. Here is what he said at that great summit of his in Helsinki, which was, according to him, a huge success.
They think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be. I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial.
Okay. Also over the weekend, Trump went after his other favorite target, that would be the media. He criticized the Washington Post, its owner, Amazon, saying the Post is an expensive lobbyist firm for Amazon. Trump says Amazon angry at the administration over internet taxes. And he also threatened Iran. I'll read the entire tweet for you, for the context, of course. To Iranian President Rouhani, never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. This isn't a Marvel movie. This is the president. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious! Exclamation point. By the way, that's all in caps. He also flared up over the NFL national anthem controversy again. Don't forget, he's the one who started it in the first place. Here, his tweet on that subject. The NFL national anthem debate is alive and well again. Can't believe it. Isn't it in contract the players must stand at attention, hand on heart? Actually, it's not. The $40 million commissioner must now make a stand. First time kneeling out for the game, second time kneeling out for season. No pay, again with the exclamation point. Like most people, I kind of shrugged it all off as we've been here, done that. I've had 2 years of this, and I'm kind of used to it, whatever that says. Every morning in our editorial meeting, we have to decide whether to talk about every crazy tweet, even though it is from the leader of the free world. Then we got to say, well, is this real news? It is the president, or do we avoid this and not take the bait? Well, today we take the bait. We will talk about the NFL in a few minutes. A column in the Boston Globe had an interesting take on what's going on. This piece is getting picked up nationally, including even on CNN. Here's part of it. Trump is not a, quote, demonic agent who deflects the course of history in an evil way. He is a clownishly incompetent and willfully ignorant buffoon. The sooner he leaves office, the better. But he is not a precursor of fascism. He does not endanger our democracy, nor does he pose a threat to the rights enumerated in the Constitution. As for deflecting history, he lacks even a rudimentary understanding of the term. Now, on that note, I want to bring in our panel. Jeannie Zanos, professor of political science at Iona College, also senior advisor at the consulting firm Applied Techonomics. We're going to go through some poll numbers. She'll break down what they mean here as we're getting close to the midterms. Dominic Carter, back fresh from one courthouse after another in Lower Manhattan, political journalist and author. And Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent, has got his own interview with a person who could disrupt the governor's race in New York coming up later. Okay. You're with me every morning when we're going through what to do and what not to do. And you know, for anyone out there who says, oh, you guys, you go for the latest shiny object, I'd say back to them, what do you say to a president, even if we are at this point, I don't know, 5,000 times burdened, 5,001 times shy, to know that he's just trying to distract us, but nonetheless, he's taking away security clearances like we've never seen just because people don't speak nice of him. He's attacking a whole league and reigniting the whole idea of the national anthem and patriotism. He's going after, with threatening terms, a country with nuclear aspirations. Yeah. He's attacking again all his intelligence agencies, while people, respected people, and myself believe that the Russian government hasn't compromised. Are we supposed to ignore all that because he's trying to change the subject?
We really can't ignore all that because he's threatening to jail or pull the security clearances of his political opponents, his political enemies, or the people he sees as political enemies. And he threatened Iran with basically war in an angry tweet this morning. And of course, these are all deflections. They're all distractions from the fact that he had a terrible summit in Helsinki and exposed himself certainly as being, if not beholden to the Russians, then certainly not the tough guy that he's posed and postured himself to be. So we have to cover the stuff that could affect the future of the country, even though it's a distraction. And I disagree with the Boston Globe column, too, because I think there are potentially more significant consequences to all this. I think he is potentially a threat to the democracy. I think he is potentially a danger for the nation and for the system of government, if only because the government isn't checking him. The government isn't doing its responsibility in the checks and balances that we're accustomed to. So it is superfluous, it is a distraction, it is serious and important and requires coverage, and that's why we go crazy, because we know both sides of it.
And there's a term for it, Dom, it's called the Trump derangement syndrome. That's what he claims people. Now, I gotta tell you, reading that guy's piece, right, I thought he made some good points, but I also thought he underestimated the consequences of what's happened in the last 2 years. And I agree with him. Look, take Russia, for example. He's not getting rid of sanctions. The sanctions are still going to be there whether he likes it or not. I think there'll even be more. But a president of the United States closed the door for 2 hours with an enemy of America and came across to the world like the guy's got dirt on him and invited him to come to the White House in August. So why shouldn't we take that seriously? He says he's a clown and a buffoon. But the office of the presidency will be forever changed by Donald Trump. And we're seeing it playing out in live TV or on Twitter. And it does, I think, fairly scare the you-know-what out of me. Do you think we've gone too far that we take the bait every day? Or do you think we have to?
We have to take the bait. He's the president of the United States, whether we like it or not. Everything that he does is newsworthy. I think we have to do we, meaning the media, have to do a lot better job in terms of what our emphasis is on. Because to know Donald Trump is to know that he is the master of the smokescreen. He is the master of, okay, you're focusing on these porn stars. I've been lying to you for months saying that it's not true. Now you got tapes. Now you may have evidence. Boom, throw something else at you.
So you don't think it's just at 11:45 at night,
Oh,
you
no,
know, he's
very
sitting there with his
strategic.
phone and he's like,
oh, no. He's very.
he's not disciplined.
You can.
He's not. Look at what he does.
He's not disciplined, but he's not a fool either. And what I mean by that, and I hate to refer to the President of the United States that way, when I say he's not a fool either, he's a master at getting us, who he considers stupid, to focus on what he wants us to focus on and leave the damaged stuff alone.
Jeannie, it always strikes me, and we'll go through poll numbers next segment, where it's like, you know, motherhood and apple pie versus the worst thing you can do. And somehow, even there's no possible debate, there's at least a third that are the worst possible thing, just because guys like me say it's bad, okay? So I've given up trying to figure out the American public on this, but is Dom right? Because I think he is, that when we get distracted, the real important stuff gets pushed to the side? Or is it a cumulative thing that people, I know more people are more worried today than they have been in at least 40 years in terms of where we're going. I go back probably closer to 50 in terms of the turbulent end of the 60s, you know, in the beginning of the 70s, as to, are we going to tear apart after assassinations and riots and all the rest? Where is that line?
Well, I mean, I think Dom is right that there are really important things going on while we're distracted by Donald Trump. But to your point and to Inder's point and Dom's, the media is supposed to cover what is going on. So you can't ignore it. It has to be covered. And I think that's really what Donald Trump has been able to use to his advantage. And I would agree with Dom. He's no fool. I mean, he knows that he has been very good for the bottom line of the news media. He knows what the news media has to cover, and he knows if he's the president and he's tweeting or he's the candidate and he's saying something outrageous, that's going to be covered. It has to be covered. And so we're almost in a no-win situation when you're talking about the media's perspective. But I do think we make a mistake if we treat him as a buffoon. People did this with Berlusconi as well. You have to take these people seriously. It almost doesn't matter whether he's thinking these things out and incredibly disciplined or not. The point is he's the president and he's doing it, and he's not acting alone. He has an administration behind him, and he is doing this in a concerted way, and there are very real impacts to all of us as a result of this. Let's not forget, he tweeted a threat to Iran. It's absolutely not only outrageous, but that is a very serious thing. Now, are we going to go to war tomorrow? Hopefully not. But these are very serious things that need to be covered, and they have long-term impacts for all of us.
And just like the rest of you at home, I too, I find myself exhausted every week doing this program by Wednesday. And think about any other administration we've ever covered. And we've gone through wars, okay, in the Bush years and in the wind downs with Obama and all. You wouldn't do a fraction of this in a month that you'll do in less than a week, just in terms of things we've never seen before, with active investigations going on, and who knows what bombshells are going to come out of those. But anyway, just a little taste on what it's like every day. Okay, coming up next, we're going to take a look at those numbers I discussed as we are in the midterm seasons with a little over 100 days here left here. Which party has the edge? What are the voters most concerned about? And what do they think about Trump and his impact come November? Stay with us.